Hello, it's me again with part 2 of the sci-fi building video. And in the last video I gave you a rough outline on how I build these buildings, structurally and like design techniques and stuff like that. And today I just wanted to show you a few techniques how to detail these buildings and make them look more interesting and make them look apart from each other. Just to recap the context of these buildings, I wanted to have something nice to play Kill Team and Star Wars Legion with, so I have a lot of flat surfaces, interiors, and I don't want to mess with these surfaces because they are really nice to fit the buildings together, to have modularity, and also to place your miniatures on the buildings without having trouble. Nice. I think you get what I'm saying. So the main aim with the detailing process is to make the buildings look interesting but still keep these flat surfaces and keep the playability at a high. Onto the materials I've used. I'm showing wood glue, but I don't really use that because it soaks too much into the cardboard. I instead use this glue stick and super glue to glue the plastic part. And you will need a ruler and some sharp knives to cut out everything. As for the other materials I've used, I love to use plastic card and especially plastic card tubes for detailing, like pipes or something. You can get them in a few different sizes, mostly from Green Stuff World, also random packs. Also insulation pipes and stuff like brass rods are really nice because they are bendy, guitar strings. As for these, I really recommend to get a higher gauge. See this on these numbers, like a 56 to 12 are really thick strings, so you can work with it really nicely because the thinner ones are just too thin and they look like nothing. Now onto the best building ingredient, which is cardboard, which is really nice because it's free and you should probably have it at home or be able to collect it really easily at home. Just collect a few different thicknesses and you have everything you need. If you're fancy, you can get like foam board, which is foam with like paper sheet on the outside, which is really nice to get some thickness into the walls. And then maybe, like I did, prepare some offcuts, some stripes, some panels you like the fonts of to have something ready to glue on. So in this part of the video I already started taking measurements of this face of the wall with like the door and the window in it. And I'm just going to transfer these measurements and create a nice frame to cover up this panel and to have a nice frame around the door and the window. After cutting the window out of its panel, I created another frame to go around it to offset the window a bit. Additionally to this wavy cardboard I glued in from behind just to make it seem closed. And then I did the same for the door with stripes and for the frame, and I glued in a few triangles just to have a little more going on in this surface. Here you can see I already built a trapdoor on top, and this is just a rectangle of cardboard, a few thin stripes glued onto it, and it already looks really nice, I think. Because I have this small balcony on the building, I cut out a diamond pattern sheet of plastic card and glued it on just to have a nice detail offsetting this walkway from the rest of the building. And after gluing on a few more stripes, a few more rectangles and interesting forms, you can already see the building come together with a bit of nice detail. As you can see on most of the buildings, I really like these rectangles with these cut off edges because it really makes the buildings feel coherent, and it's also a design theme I keep around these doors and the windows, as you can see. And I think it fits the Star Wars universe, it fits the 40k universe, and yeah, I just think it's really interesting to look at. After I did most of the work with my cardboard pieces, I glued in a few of these. I think these are lollipop sticks, but you can also use a thicker gauge of like plastic card tubes or something like that, or just any round thing you have. I mean, you can also use wooden sticks or something. And then I also added a few brass rods I bent into like these handlebars, which look really nice. And I just put these all around the building, like across doors or like as a handle on a trapdoor. Yeah, they really make the building look more interesting and more three-dimensional. To secure them into the building, I just drill holes with like a small drill bit and then fix them with super glue. And on the last side I added a pipe. Like you can get these at your Home Depot for like electrical work and stuff like that. I would highly recommend doing buildings like this. Just go to your craft store or like your Baumarkt and yeah, just have a look around and look for stuff that looks interesting and just get a few cheap things and then you can play around with them. And here you can see me going around the building with the hot glue gun and like these plastic sticks, gluing it on where it fits. I don't really have a plan in mind when I'm doing this. I just see what looks nice, just fit a few different pieces in a few different areas and yeah, just see where it leads me. Because I don't want to saw most of the pieces in the process, I have like pre-cut pieces of tube and I just see where they fit. I'm mostly not going to fit them to size on my buildings, even though that would allow me to do more creative things. I just don't have the nerve to do that while I'm building it. I just want to pick up a piece and see where it fits and glue it on or don't glue it on. And in this part I just stuck a plastic rod through like pieces of balsa wood and then put on like these small plastic beads. Can get as a child to iron over and have like these bead buildings. Yeah, I recommend just getting a pack of these to fit everywhere. And yeah, I just made a railing with it and here I'm sticking it on the side of the building and I think it looks nice. And after that it's mostly done. I just go around again and fit a few more plastic rods, a few more guitar strings and maybe like a few brass rods to see where detail is lacking and yeah, to tie it all together. And here you can see the building all primed, all textured up like I showed in the first video. If you haven't seen that, I would recommend checking it out. I hope you could take something away from this video. I hope it wasn't too much of a repeat, considering last video was also about building these buildings. And in the next video I'm going to paint these buildings, so if you're interested in that, consider subscribing and sticking around. And until then, nice. Until then, have a good time and see you around.